is Karim Hadaya. I am the company director at Munchie Lunchie Productions, and I am a producer and an actor as well. I have done a number of projects around the UK and the Middle East, and right now we're working with Mind on a short film titled Ashes of a Dying Ember. I have lived in Syria for 17 years. I was born and raised in Syria for 17 years. When the war raged in Syria, we decided to move to Dubai, and I stayed there for almost 2 years. Then I decided to do a law degree in Norwich. So I moved to Norwich. I was there for almost 6 years. During that time, the war kept on raging in Syria, and then they closed the embassies. And then a couple of things happened with me personally where, I was very vocal about what was happening in Syria. I got a couple of, emails and messages on Facebook that were not really safe for me or for my family. So I've decided to go and apply for my asylum at that time. Now, the asylum process was heavy, to say the least. First of all, mentally, you're not really equipped when you're 18 years old to go and, leave everything that you know behind and, start from zero. That's basically what happened. I started from zero. But I saw that the support that I had in here was very much the thing that kept me going. And during my law degree, I just kind of felt like that wasn't the thing for me. And as I've said, my mental health was starting to deteriorate a little bit. So I was like, okay, I need to find something that helps me and helps other people as well. So during that search, I found theater. And the first class in theater, I remember it clearly, it was a yoga class. And for me, I was like, yoga? That's new. Going from a law degree where you're studying, case laws and very serious matters to, sitting around and talking about your feelings and how you're feeling today and how you're gonna, continue on with your day while you're, encompassing this new character. So it was different, but it also was very therapeutic, and by the time I finished my degree, I've realized I've grown, spiritually, mentally, physically, but, in my head, I was very much grown up. And I give all the thanks to the degree that I did. And from that degree, I decided to get into the film industry. Then we had COVID, which was another setback. So during that time, I was like, okay, might as well do a master's. So I did a master's in media and public relations. Once we got out of the lockdown, I had a couple of credits in the film industry. So I continued working within the film industry, and then we created Munchie Lunchie Productions in 2021. We incorporated it. We did one short film titled Whistle, which is in post-production, and this is our second short film, Ashes of a Dying Ember. We're really excited about Ashes. It's going to be a very unique film. Ashes of a Dying Ember is a film about grief, it's a film about trauma, and it's a film about identity. The premise of it is we have our character, Hadi al-Amiri. He is a Syrian refugee, and we have two stories. So we have the first story of Hadi and a day in his life living in London doing odd jobs. He is a refugee, so if as a refugee, you're not allowed to work a certain amount of hours a week. So most of the refugees, they work in jobs that are cash in hand. So we wanted to explore that, and we start with him doing, the odd jobs in cleaning, and working behind the restaurant counter and stuff like that. And then the first story ends with a very abrupt ending. I'm not going to say what the ending is, otherwise I'm going to ruin the film for everybody who's watching. But the second story that's juxtapositioned by the first one is set in this surreal setting in the woods. And in the woods, Hadi's having a conversation with two versions of himself, and then this third version, which is technically the poet's character that we portray in the story. And the poet character relates to a poet from Syria named Al-Mutanabbi. So in the film itself, we have a lot of poetry from Al-Mutanabbi, and then we paint this poetry over the film from the start to the end. Now, those characters that are having these conversations, they're having conversations about their identity. So you have one character that is angry at the fact that he has become this version of himself that he doesn't understand. taken away from his country by force, while the other version is trying to come to terms with that and accept it, regardless of the situations that he has gone through. And the poet is trying to kind of put them together and show them the common denominator between them through poetry. So that character only speaks in verses of poems from Al-Mutanabbi, which relate very much to what the character of Hadi is feeling throughout the film. I worked on the script with Yasmin Hen, so this is a co-writing effort between us. Yasmin and I decided to conduct a short interview with myself to discuss what I've went through personally when I applied for my asylum. So there are instances where one of the characters talks about a thing that happened to them at the asylum center, which actually happened to me. Another thing is a thing that happened in Syria, a situation that happened in Syria that was very dangerous, and it also happened to me. So a lot of the elements in the film are taken from that interview and then expanded in a fictional setting, because we also want the film to be entertaining to the audience without losing the main reason for creating this film, which is shedding the light on mental health, especially when it comes to refugees, identity in the diaspora communities, the increase of knife crime in London as well. That's one of the other themes that we showcase in the film. So there's a lot of themes that I think are going to be very important that we will be pushing through this film. Well, nobody wants to leave their home country, do they? Nobody does. It's hard. At the beginning, you try to fight it. I did not want to apply for asylum at the beginning. I told my dad, I was like, are you crazy? Like, I'm not going to do that. We're going back. But my dad was more realistic, and he saw the future. And he was like, there's not going to be a future for us there. So I was put under the fact, and I had to do it. It was a life or death situation. Mentally, it kind of uprooted me and destabilized my whole identity. I mean, for a long, long time, I didn't know who I was. Am I Syrian? Am I American? Am I British? Who am I? Where do I belong? Where's home? And then I've decided to call home wherever I find peace and friendship. And I found a lot of friendships in here. I found friendships with Mind. I found friendships in my universities. There was a lot of good people who have helped me become who I am today. But also the issue with becoming a refugee is you can't travel. So if your family is based in a different country, you can't see them for almost 5 years while your asylum papers are getting sorted out, while you're getting your approval. And asylum starts with you getting your asylum approved, and then you have to do your indefinite leave to remain, and then you can get your citizenship. And that process takes around 5 to 6 years. For me, it took that much. So by the end of it, I was a completely different person. My brother was a completely different person. 5 years passed, and then I remember the first time I went back is my parents moved to Texas. So the first time I go to Texas and I see them, I was like, whoa, my brother's not a baby anymore, And my brother was like, I have a brother. And one of the things that kind of hurt me was him telling me, I try to tell my friends I have a brother, but they don't believe me. So I made it my mission to go to his school and tell everybody, hey, I'm his brother, I'm real. I exist, here I am. So yeah, I had a happy ending at the end, but that is not the case for everybody. And I think this movie is what's trying to say is, don't look at a refugee from the eyes of the media, look at it from the eyes of a human being, of a person who actually have been through hardships. Put yourself in their position. What would you feel? Bombs are, breaking your house apart. You can't talk, you can't speak, you can't express yourself. You have to leave. You have to go through a very hard trip if you're going. A lot of them went through the boats. A lot of them died on those boats. It's not a thing that people go as spur of the moment. Yeah, let me go to another country and just risk my life. No, it's a very, very risky thing that they have to do. And they have no option whether they can or cannot do it. They have to do it. They have to do it for themselves, for their families, for their loved ones. It's a matter of life or death. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. London and the UK and the people of London and the UK have been very gracious, very nice. There has been, you know, I would say the uninformed here and there who don't understand what it is to be a Syrian refugee, and I blame the media. I really have to blame only the media, because if there was a better informed narrative, then people will not think of them as thieves, as, you know, bad people. They would look at it from an objective point of view. But when you subject the viewer to your own narrative, then you risk altering the reality of the truth, you know? And yeah, so I don't have any malice towards the people who might have thought that I might not be, you know, a good person, or they might have thought that I was a Syrian refugee, so that means, like, you know, I'm less or anything like that. I just think that they just need to have a better education when it comes to refugees, and they need to understand that refugees also suffer from mental health issues just like everybody else. And if we help them and, you know, we bridge those gaps that we have, they'll realize that they have more in common with them than they ever thought. And I hope they will see that. Ooh, other than my family, my grandma and my uncles, I mean, I lived there for 17 years, so there's a lot of things I miss. I miss my house, I miss my toys. I had a collection of Pokemons that I had to throw away, you know, and damn, it's not a good thing. The food, the hospitality, the kindness of the people there, you know, the stories you get to hear from the taxi drivers while you're driving to your basketball practice or your tennis practice. You know, those little things matter. And over time, you start to miss them more and more. But, you know, I'm very thankful that the Syrian people have gained their independence now, and I'm really hopeful for the future of Syria and the future of the Syrian people. The reason we decided to choose Al-Mutanabbi is because he's considered in Syria as Shakespeare of the Middle East, okay? So what we wanted to do is to bridge the Western and Eastern philosophy through poetry in the film. And the campaign will do just that. What we will do is we're gonna have 3 pop-ups. During these pop-ups, we're gonna have different contestants having verses that are open-ended from Al-Mutanabbi in English. And they will work on getting the rest of the verses themselves. You know, they will write it themselves, and they will compete with each other in kind of a slam poetry style. And the final event will be this massive slam poetry with professional poets, people that we've talked to, you know, from different organizations and different groups, poetry groups and whatnot, and universities. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of interesting shows during that time, some improv. I'm going to keep it on the down low at the moment, but, you know, we're getting all those confirmations as we go. And yeah, we're going to have a contest between all of these people, and the end result will be a final contestant who will win the award, which will be a book by Al-Mutanabbi from Cambridge Press, and a couple other knickknacks. One of them is a poster signed by the cast and crew of Ashes of a Dying Ember, along with some other stuff. They can register. Of course, the registration will be online. Mind is our partner on this project, so they will be conducting, you know, they will be posting about the project very soon. So please keep an eye on their socials and also on our socials, Munchie Lunchie Productions and munchielunchieproductions.com. Yeah, you can sign up if you would like to be a contestant, or whether they want to be a poet, or whether they want to be an audience member, just to come and check out the amazing poetry that we're going to have on those nights. It's important. It's important. Talking about mental health was a taboo for a long time, and we finally have this taboo broken down, and everybody now is starting to talk more about mental health. People are starting to be more engaged in the conversation about mental health, and people who were afraid of the stigma are coming out and going, okay, now I can speak. Now I can say what's in my head talk about my issues and how I can deal with it with people who are professionals, who understand where I'm coming from and understand the issues that I'm having and how to deal with them and how to prevent them reappearing again. I've had a lot of friends who suffered from depression, from anxiety, from a lot of issues mentally. And the final thing for them was finding support in any shape, form, or matter. And I think having those conversations, having 30,000 people talking about mental health will drive it to the forefront of society, for people to look at it and accept that some people will have, mental health issues that are not visible. And it's important to talk about those issues. It's important to tackle them. And also it's important to support them. And I think Mind will be able to showcase the ways of support to the people who sometimes go like, well, I have a friend, but I don't know how to support them. Well, Mind is here to show you, to help you understand what are the best avenues to do that. And I'm very excited to see how it's going to progress. I think it's going to be a very unique thing that will create a very incredible outcome for the campaign, for the people of the campaign, for the campaign beneficiaries as well. So yeah, let's see how it goes down the road. But I'm very excited, and I'm very excited that Poetry in the City is also a part of it as well. Oh my God, there's a lot of things I love about Ealing. Ealing is just, it keeps growing and growing, and the people just keep getting awesomer and more cool. And I don't know, the food in there is great. There's a lot of diversity in Ealing. So, you have a shawarma shop on the corner, and then you have a farouche shop on the corner, and then you have a Japanese Chinese shop on the corner. I think that's what represents, Ealing represents London. The businesses as well, you have a capacity to work with a lot of different businesses that are based in Ealing and, work with people who actually care and who actually want to change the world for the better. So yeah, I think that's the most I can think about. I think Ealing is just a very unique place. And I also live in a place called Shakespeare Road. So if that's not Kismet, I don't know what is. Poet's Corner as well. So I think it's all kind of like destiny, Destiny was calling me to Ealing, and I'm there. And I just love it. I love everything about it. It's a great place to be. There's this Italian place I always like to go to. It's called Station House. And there's also the Churchfield Food Store. So they have the best coffee in all of Ealing. I love their coffee. I love their food. I love their focaccia. Focaccia baresi. Ooh. Amazing food, amazing people, and a lot of the people who work there are from Italy, so I'm working on my Italian now. So yeah, I get to go there, talk to them, have a chat, have a nice, catch up. Then I go have my coffee, have my focaccia while I'm thinking about, a project here or a project there. I do a lot of meetings there as well, so you might see me there once or twice a week. Well, as an actor, I started as a freelancer, and I worked for a long time. It was great. It was, I was getting a lot of work. I was getting a lot of auditions. But a lot of the times I was finding out that the role of the Middle Eastern or the role of the Syrian was very stereotyped. Now, as an actor who has worked his career trying to perfect his craft, trying to perfect his method, I found it very limiting. So I decided to make my own destiny, so to speak. And the way to do that was to create a company. Now, the first step is to create the company. Very easy. You can, incorporate your company. I don't know how much you pay to incorporate. I think it's like $20. And then you have your company in the company's house. The big Goliath that I had to deal with was getting the crew and the cast. Now, the first thing is you need somebody who can be your collaborator. And to find a collaborator, you need somebody who can understand where you're going with the company and what you're trying to achieve with the company. Now, our company's main thing and main objective is to give a voice to the young generation and to give a voice to the diverse actors and creatives in the film industry. My collaborator, Yasmin Hen, understood the task. And you could tell from the script that we co-wrote and the scripts that are coming soon, we have 38 projects coming up. So yes, a lot of TV shows, a lot of awesome, cool films. So keep an eye on Munchie Lunchie. So yeah, you had to find that one person who can understand you, and then you can start building the whole team. Now, some of the people we've met, we kind of met by chance. Some of them we kind of like knew from before, and then we found that their skills fit our skills. But we also, in the back of our minds, we always have diversity. And we wanted to have an inclusive crew and an inclusive cast in every production we have. Whether it's gender, whether it's from aspects of disabilities or or anything like that. You know, we wanted to make sure that we have them, but we also wanted to make sure we had the best. And, you know, so we can have a good film and we can have a good project and a good product to present to our audience. And I think we're doing a good job so far. So let's see what the audience think of Ashes, and we can take it from there. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't listen to anybody but yourself. Listen to the constructive criticism, not the destructive criticism. And believe that you can make it to a place where you never thought you could. And that's not just an advice to myself, to my younger self. That's an advice to all young people all around the world. Believe you can make it. Believe you can do it. And work towards it. Don't let anybody stop you. You've got the power. Yeah. There's help out there. There are people who care. Your loved ones care. The world might seem a bit tough at times, but there are ways out. There are ways to converse with people, to talk to people, to have a constructive conversation that will change your perspective. And if you're struggling, please, please, please talk to somebody. Don't keep it inside, because it builds. It's like, it might start like very, very tiny, but then before you know it, it builds and builds and builds. And you don't want to take all of that burden by yourself. Share it. And people are happy to share it with you. I'll be happy to share it with you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I was one of those people who kept it in for too long. You know, I was always the kid who was the party guy, the fun guy, the happy go-getter. So that facade had to stay for me, you know, and I couldn't let it go. And it affected me not only physically, it affected my relationships. It affected me with people I loved. And a lot of the times I just blocked them out because I didn't feel like they could have understood me, or, you know, I just preferred to stay away from them, which led to me locking myself in and not conversing with the outside world. And that, you know, it affects you physically. You end up, you know, staying at home for long periods of time. You know, you only go out to maybe eat sometimes, and then you go back again to your cocoon. It was safe, but for a short period of time, and it did not help at all. You know, I might have thought that I felt okay, but it was not okay. And the minute I started going out and, you know, forcing myself to be like, look, you got to go out, you got to have a conversation with somebody, you got to get back to yourself, get back to what mattered to you. That's when I started seeing, you know, myself getting better. I started going back to the gym, started going back to a schedule. I think the best thing to do is to have a schedule, have a routine, stick to the routine. Even if sometimes it gets boring, it's better than going to the cocoon. So that's my advice. Don't go to the cocoon. Go out.